Divine ones, have you ever walked into a room and suddenly everything shifts? Eyes follow you, conversations quiet down, energy gets real heavy. That's not your imagination, that's spiritual recognition. Have you ever wondered why people are acting strange around you lately? Why is someone who once doubted you now suddenly on your team? What if I told you it's because they've finally realized you've been the truth all along? Let me take you back a few years. There was a woman I knew, let's call her Maya. Maya didn't say much, but when she spoke, woo, you felt it in your soul. Folks ignored her wisdom at first, laughed off her discernment. Fast forward to today, everyone is quoting Maya like she's a walking oracle. And that one person who used to mock her, they're now her biggest fan. They switched sides, just like that. Divine ones, you are the Maya in someone's life right now. People are waking up to your power, your perception, and your spiritual depth. They're realizing you know what's up, you're the real deal, and they can't pretend otherwise anymore. So what changed? Why now? Why are people suddenly treating you differently? Who's switching sides? And most importantly, what does it mean for your spiritual journey? As the great Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. But now they're seeing you for who you truly are, and this time they believe it. So stay with me, Divine Ones, till the end of this video, because this is more than just validation. It's a call to stay awake, stay grounded, and walk boldly in your divine purpose. Let's break it down. Point 1. Your energy has been speaking louder than words. For years, you've walked into rooms with a quiet power that no one could quite put into words. You didn't need to shout. You didn't need to beg for likes, retweets, or applause. You didn't sell your soul for clout or adjust your frequency to fit into rooms that couldn't hold your vibration. Instead, you chose to be authentic, to stand in your truth, to move with integrity, and to walk your walk without performing. That kind of soul resonance is rare, and now, finally, people are starting to hear it. Not just hear it, but feel it. Because real energy can't be faked, duplicated, or silenced. The human body emits a measurable electromagnetic field, and the heart's energy alone can be detected several feet away, according to the HeartMath Institute. That's science backing what you already know spiritually. Energy introduces you before you speak. While others were talking louder, you were living deeper. And that depth has now become a sound wave, a vibration, a spiritual signal that can no longer be ignored. Your presence is making the walls talk. It's to see the performative, the insecure, and the deceitful. Why? Because authenticity is a mirror, and mirrors make people uncomfortable when they're hiding from themselves. When you entered a room, it didn't just shift the mood, it shifted the atmosphere. You've been consistent, even when no one was watching. You've been kind, even when you were disrespected. You've held your ground, even when people tried to rewrite your story. That spiritual resilience, it's magnetic. People may not have understood it at first, but energy doesn't need translation. It speaks soul to soul. Now they're realizing what they missed. The ones who mocked you, silenced. The ones who doubted you, shocked. The ones who tried to drain you, defeated. Not because you fought back, but because you outlasted them. You healed, you evolved, you glowed up from the inside out. And now your light isn't just visible, it's undeniable. Divine One, you are the message, not a slogan, not a performance, a whole truth. And the world is finally tuning in. The ones who were faking it are shook, not because you exposed them, but because your existence alone reveals what they could never fabricate. Soul, keep showing up. You don't have to say a word. Your spirit speaks volumes. Point 2. Discernment isn't a guess. It's a spiritual gift. You knew the truth long before it was cool to admit it, before the scandals, the betrayals, the big reveals. You sensed the shift. You didn't need proof because your spirit already felt the dissonance. While everyone else was enamored by fake smiles and loud applause, you were paying attention to the subtle cues, the energy in the room, the slight hesitation in their words, and the envy veiled as support. You read between the lines, you heard what wasn't being said, and no, you weren't being paranoid, you were aligned, deeply, spiritually, intuitively. What others dismissed as overthinking or hypersensitivity was actually your gift of discernment in action. Science even backs you up. Studies in social and emotional intelligence show that highly intuitive individuals are more attuned to micro-expressions and nonverbal cues. Your body picks up on danger and dishonesty before your brain can logically process it. That gut feeling, it's not some abstract mysticism, it's your nervous system reacting to subtle threats. You didn't just sense their deception, you knew it in your bones. And still you stayed quiet. You watched. You waited. You let them play their parts. But now, the curtain is dropping. The masks are slipping. The truth is spilling out like water through cracked glass. People are seeing what you saw all along, and suddenly you're not the crazy one anymore. Now you're the one they whisper about in hushed tones. They were right all along, they murmur. How did they know? It's not about being psychic. It's about being spiritually synced with something greater. When you're aligned with truth, deception can't sit comfortably in your presence. That's why people got uncomfortable around you. They could feel you seeing them without saying a word. And those who doubted you, mocked you, underestimated you, they're quiet now. Because your rise wasn't loud, but it was undeniable. You didn't expose anyone. You simply stood in truth until it did the exposing for you. So let them whisper, let them reflect. Your job was never to prove them wrong. It was to stay in alignment and let your life be the loudest prophecy. You were never seeking revenge. You were walking in revelation. And now you're rising, revered not just for what you knew, but for who you are. Point 3, someone is switching sides and you knew they would. Yes, let's talk about them. That one person who smirked when you shared your dreams, who called your ambition too much, who rolled their eyes when you dared to think bigger. The so-called friend who watched your struggle in silence but never offered support. The co-worker who underestimated your potential, boxed you into roles far beneath your capabilities and whispered doubts behind your back. They all played a part in the scenery of your past, but now the plot has shifted and so have they. They're watching now closely. You see, when people witness your transformation, especially after they've written you off, it does something to them. Neuroscience shows that witnessing someone else's success, especially when that success contradicts our prior judgments, triggers cognitive dissonance. In simple terms, they're scrambling to reconcile the version of you they dismissed with the powerful, purposeful force you've become. That's why they're recalculating, rewriting history in their minds. Suddenly, your confidence isn't arrogance, it's admirable. Your discipline isn't rigidity, it's resilience. Your growth isn't surprising, it's inspiring. And now they want back in. The same ones who questioned your worth are sliding into your DMs with congratulatory messages. They're sending "I always believed in you" texts, conveniently forgetting the times they kept their distance when you needed support. Don't be shocked. Be discerning. Because this is the moment where your spirit must remain clear, grounded, and unshaken. Forgiveness is divine, absolutely. Holding on to bitterness only stunts your own growth, but access is sacred. You can forgive them in your heart and still keep your table exclusive. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your success story, especially when they didn't help write a single page. This isn't about revenge, it's about spiritual boundaries. God elevates you not to show off, but to show you who truly belongs in your circle. As Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That means protecting your energy, your peace, and your space. You're not being cold, you're being called, and your calling requires clarity. So let them watch, let them reflect, let them regret it. But you keep rising, Divine One, because elevation always reveals the real ones and reminds you why access must be earned, not given. Point 4, God hid you for a season, now He's revealing you. You weren't overlooked, you were protected. What looked like rejection was actually redirection. While the world scrolled past you, bypassed you, and underestimated your potential, God was working behind the scenes. Your silence wasn't an absence, it was divine incubation. You were in the greenhouse of purpose, growing in strength, humility, and wisdom while the rest of the world was busy performing for applause. In biology, incubation is the crucial stage where life is quietly forming, shielded from outside forces. That was you, hidden not because you were unworthy, but because you were being prepared. You weren't delayed, you were being developed. During this season of invisibility, God was fortifying your spirit, sharpening your discernment, and stretching your endurance. You learned how to move in integrity, how to work without recognition, and how to rise without making noise. The world glorifies hustle, but God honors healing. While others were chasing clout, you were cultivating character. That's what makes your arrival so loud now. Not because you're shouting, but because your growth speaks volumes. It's the contrast. The people who once outran you now wonder how you surpassed them without even trying to compete. And here you are, stepping into visibility, but you didn't arrive with glitter, you came with grit. The applause doesn't move you because you've already been affirmed in private. You're not bitter, you're built. And suddenly people who once ignored you can't stop watching. They laughed once, now they linger. They dismissed you, and now they discuss you. And the irony? They think your moment came overnight, not realizing you've been in the making for years. They're witnessing the bloom, but they have no clue about the roots. God hid you for a reason. He had to shield you from premature exposure, from envy, and from spiritual attacks you weren't ready for. But now, you've grown into the weight of your calling. Now you can carry it. Now they can't unsee you, and you don't need to shout to be seen. You radiate something undeniable. That's what true anointing does. It breaks the room, shifts the air, and stirs the spirit. So walk boldly in that visibility, knowing this. You weren't just hidden, you were chosen. And chosen ones never stay hidden forever. They rise in divine timing, and when they do, the world takes notice. Point 5. Envy is a sign you're doing something right. Don't be shaken by the haters. They're not a sign that something's wrong with you. In fact, they might be one of the most accurate confirmations that you're on the right path. Think about it. Jealousy doesn't come from those doing better than you. It often comes from those who feel threatened by your growth, your peace, or your potential. You didn't brag, you didn't boast, and you didn't parade your progress. You simply existed, and your existence alone disrupted the illusions they built for themselves. You see, when people are forced to stand next to authenticity, confidence, or purpose, it shines a light on what they've been avoiding in their own lives. Your presence is not just powerful, it's revealing. And in that light, insecurities start crawling out like shadows. This is why people project, gossip, or even try to tear you down. It's not because there's something wrong with you, it's because you represent everything they've suppressed in themselves. You became the mirror, Divine One. And the truth is, not everyone is ready to look into that mirror and see what's staring back. Psychologically, this reaction is rooted in cognitive dissonance. The discomfort people feel when confronted with information or realities that conflict with their beliefs or self-image. Your strength, confidence, or peace of mind can create that dissonance in others. And instead of rising to your level or healing their wounds, some choose the easier route, to hate, to criticize, to mock. But here's the secret. None of that has anything to do with you. Their reaction is about them, not you. Now, the temptation may come to shrink, to dim your light, or to tone down your excellence just to keep the peace or avoid conflict. But don't do it. Never trade your divine glow to make someone else more comfortable in the dark. Your light isn't a weapon, it's a guidepost. Those meant to rise with you will use it to find their own way. The others, let them sit in their discomfort. That's not cruelty, it's clarity. So keep showing up, keep shining, and keep disrupting illusions with your truth. Because the ones who are triggered today might just be the ones you'll inspire tomorrow. And the haters, they're just unknowing students in the presence of your divine evolution. Point 6, you're not crazy, you're just ahead of your time. You've always been in tune with something deeper, something beyond the surface. While others dismissed it as weird or dramatic, you followed your own path, listening to the whispers of the universe that led you to spiritual alignment. Before it became a trend, you understood that life wasn't just about the physical realm, it was about energy, vibrations, and the unseen forces that influence us all. You've always known that the world is full of hidden meanings and signals if you just take the time to tune in. Whether it was following your intuition in moments of doubt or embracing practices that others called over-spiritual, you were guided by a higher calling, and you did so unapologetically. Now, as society shifts toward these very ideas you've embraced for years, people who once criticized your journey are suddenly becoming curious. They've started talking about vibrations, chakras, and healing their trauma. It's no longer considered fringe to explore these spiritual concepts. It's mainstream, but for you, this isn't new. This has always been a part of your existence. You've spent years practicing mindfulness, grounding yourself in meditation, and tuning into your spiritual frequency. While others are just now jumping on the bandwagon, you've been walking this path for a long time. And here's the thing, it's not about proving your worth or rubbing it in anyone's face. It's not about saying, "I told you so." It's about recognizing that you've always been ahead of the curve, built for this awakening. You've been living in alignment with the universe before it was a popular hashtag, before people started posting about manifesting their dreams. While others are now catching up, you've been embodying the changes they're just beginning to understand. In fact, you've been a part of something much bigger, a spiritual revolution that's been quietly unfolding. This awakening isn't just about you, it's part of a collective shift. The world is waking up to the truths you've always known and lived by. Now you have the opportunity to help guide others, not from a place of superiority, but from a place of wisdom and experience. You've been prepared for this moment, and it's time to shine brighter than ever. Point 7. Your presence is activating others, and they can't deny it anymore. You've always been more than just a source of inspiration. You are a force of awakening, whether you realize it or not. When you enter a room, your presence has a profound impact. It's not about grand gestures or loud speeches. It's the subtle energy you carry. People feel your integrity like a magnetic pull that draws them in. They can't quite explain it, but they sense something different in you. It's the peace you radiate, which becomes almost provocative in a world filled with chaos. You've learned how to remain calm, centered, and authentic, and it leaves people questioning their own actions, values, and choices. Your silence becomes louder than words ever could, challenging others to reflect on their own lives. At one point, they may have dismissed you. They rolled their eyes, cracked jokes, or doubted your path, thinking you were just another voice in the crowd. But now, something has shifted. They notice the strength in your quiet resilience. They see the wisdom in your actions, and slowly, they start taking notes. You didn't need to demand attention or prove anything to anyone. Your journey spoke for itself. Your growth, your transformation is undeniable. You've evolved into someone they didn't expect, and in doing so, you've created an environment that fosters awakening within others. Let them switch sides. Let them come to the light you've always carried within you. People around you will begin to realize that they, too, can tap into that inner strength, peace, and clarity you've cultivated. But remember this, you didn't need them to awaken. You've always been the light. You've been walking in your truth long before others recognized it. Now, as they start to understand their own potential, don't forget that your journey of self-discovery has been the spark that lit the path for them. Divine ones, this is your confirmation. They know who you are now. They see it, they feel it. And even if they don't say it out loud, they respect it. You don't have to chase recognition. You were chosen for revelation. Someone switching sides because they finally realize you were never the problem. You were the proof. Walk in it, own it, protect it, and as always, stay awake, stay grounded, and stay walking in your divine truth. If this message hit your spirit, drop an 888 in the comments to affirm your awakening. Share this video with another divine one who's been underestimated, and keep shining, keep rising, keep vibrating higher. Because the world doesn't just need more voices, it needs more real ones. You're the real deal. And now they know it.